I want to talk about Drew Lock here for a minute. And he said something in his press conference that got me pretty fired up. You know, you were talking about his obsessive nature with football. And, of course, all quarterbacks kind of have to have that. You remember last year and how when he went on IR, he utilized that time to improve himself, to scout the team, to just sort of take a step back from things but still keep working. I wondered if he'd do the same thing here. Well, he acknowledged that today. And so I want to play you the soundbite of what he said today, and then I want to talk to you a little bit about that. So here's what he said he did during this time when he wasn't starting.
I feel like one thing I learned from this is I got to be able to self-scout better coming out of weeks, being able to, be hurt and watch myself, watch guys other than myself. I got to learn a lot about what I could possibly do better. So that's something that I took from this injury, being able to get better going forward, is just watching myself a little bit closer, whether that's technique or little subtle, habits that I have, just being able to critique myself a little bit after games better. And now going to games with a certain mindset that maybe I didn't have in the first week, as far as how this offense goes and how we're going to roll and how I need to play as a quarterback.
Absolutely love that. Did some self-scouting. Not only was he there for Brett Rippon or Jeff Driscoll, because that's what the quarterback room has to be. You're getting ready for a game. You're trying to win games. But he, as a young quarterback that wants to step into the role and stay there as the starter, taking that time, stepping back. The Broncos, the last time he did that, he went on a 4-1 record to close out the season. I'm a little more optimistic sitting here today about what Drew Lock's going to be able to do hitting the ground running after this injury.
I think when you're in the midst of the quarterback battle in training camp, you're in the midst of, and you're trying to be hyper-focused on being the guy and getting this new offense down and everything else. I think that the time away and watching the other quarterbacks play the position and seeing what they're doing wrong helps you a lot, because you see things in yourself. Oh, he's holding the ball too long. Oh, look at him off platform there. Look at it with I've got to remember. Let me get back to the fundamentals that I need to have, not just drilling down to I got to win this job. I got to be the face of a storied franchise in the Denver Broncos that, oh, by the way, had quarterbacks like John Elway, Peyton Manning, Jake Plummer before me. There's so much that goes into the headspace of being a quarterback that sometimes you can forget about the little things, and that's, dangerous because the little things add up to become big things. And so when you get the chance, like you're talking about, to step outside that for a minute, as Drew was talking about, and look at it, look at other people doing it and say, oh yeah, I've got to remember this, I've got to remember that. I think that's a good thing, because he got the chance to do that with Flacco and Allen last year.
Right.
And now he gets a chance to do that with Driscoll and, in practice to a degree, I guess, Blake Bortles and Brett Rippon. And seeing the difference in that timing and getting the ball out quick, and seeing the difference in gunning it in there versus, taking the easy play, or, not throwing into triple coverage, just throwing it away. And when you throw it away, make sure you throw it all the way away.
Exactly. And we'll get to some more things here about taking hits and all that. But I really loved that, because one of the things that we emphasized last year when he was on IR is I really hope that he's learning a lot during this time, because it was sort of described to us as he was drinking through a fire hose during training camp. And you saw that. He had some struggle moments in training camp and in preseason last year. Taking a step back, he acknowledged was massive for him in his start to his career. And then they went 4-1 with him out there. And whether you subscribe to QB wins or not, or what you really want to see to a quarterback, the Broncos are interested in wins. They're interested in wins now. So when he said that in his press conference, sort of acknowledging that he did the same thing, that he didn't just sit there and kind of mope about, I'm out of the lineup, I'm not able to help the guys, all I'm here is to support the other quarterbacks while I recover. No, he took a step back and said, I'm going to take a look at the playbook. With a new offensive coordinator here, I had to kind of drink through a fire hose to start things off in training camp. And maybe you saw a little bit of that in the first game too. He was a little jittery at times. I am, like I said, way more optimistic now about what Drew Lock is about to show us down the stretch. And it's this comment and others. I mean, he talked a little bit about how he felt like he had kind of let the guys down a little bit. Like, I was the guy all offseason. I was the guy throughout training camp. We developed chemistry, and then I got hurt. And I don't want to do that to these guys again. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I really think as far as the saying it portion of it, he's got that down. And he's shown flashes of the doing it portion. Now you need to go to step 2, and that's consistency with the doing it portion. You know, you got to go out there and be the quarterback of the Denver Broncos. Said not a 5-game sample, not a 1 game that I'm hurt. You got to go out there and be the guy. And so, you know, he's going to get that opportunity. I'm hoping there are some signature moments he can put in there. You know, coming in and going into Foxborough and get a big win over the New England Patriots, that'd be huge for Drew Lock coming off an injury, firing a team up. You know, hey, Brett Rippon laid the foundation here and got us a win with the New York Jets. He took care of business in my absence. Now let me put the cape back on and carry the team.
And he framed his injury against the Steelers as a dumb decision.
It was a dumb decision.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. And every quarterback out there, anybody who's ever played quarterback knows it was. We all know what he's trying to do. He's trying to buy time. Like, everybody knows what he's doing, but it was a dumb decision. You know, he was trying to make a play out of something when discretion was the better part of valor on that play. He knows it. Good for him for admitting it.
But it's an understanding as the value of the quarterback, right? It's an understanding that what you bring to your team, the need for you to be on the field functioning at a high level, and the difference without you, that's something that I think takes a little bit of time to grow into. Like, when you're I think you're just a young person, you sometimes think you're a little bit invincible. If you're a young football player, you especially think you're invincible. But I can appreciate for him, and I think you can see this. I heard Alfred telling a story earlier today about Joe Burrow and about how he learned, I think last week, that he needs to get down. He needs to not absorb so many hits.
Right.
And there's something there for Drew Lock too, where he just needs to know what's more important is I stay upright on the field and I can keep us going rather than trying to make the spectacular play that has what's such a low percentage chance of working anyways.
But part of his game is that elusivity and that escapability and pulling things out. I mean, if anything, and the reason that I mentioned him in the same breath, if any quarterback that he's most similar to of the Broncos greats, it's Plummer with the mobility. You know? I mean, he's got a little Elway in him, but he's probably closer to Plummer at this point. And so, you know, I mean, I'm hoping that he's able to, because there was sloppy mechanics and, you know, and all that kind of stuff. But I'm hoping that he can refine that. I'm hoping that he can do those kinds of things. But that's a feature, not a bug. And so as an offensive coordinator and a quarterback's coach, you have to balance, hey, we need to live to fight another day. You got to stay healthy so you can do that, with, hey, this is a part of your game, and let's build that in to make sure that we've got some of this in here. And you've got to find that balance, and you've got to convey to him how to harness that balance.